Hi boys and girls, it's Show back with another video. Today, just going to recap the Manchester United versus Everton game. I was at the game in the Stretford end. Atmosphere was decent. We got frustrated, as you could imagine, through periods of the game, and it finished a 1-1 draw. So yeah, to recap, same old story really with Manchester United. Failed to control the midfield again. Moments where it became very much an up and down game, very chaotic. Everton in the first half certainly the better team in terms of carving out chances. We had decent possession, but didn't really create anything. And Everton got on the break quite a few times. Got lots and lots of crosses down our left hand side on Wan-Bissaka's side, similar to Danjuma in midweek with Dalot. Same thing was happening with Demarai Gray. I thought he had a really good game generally. Really good, nippy, getting in the pockets, very effective. And they flooded the box. They committed some men, and if it wasn't for a few blocks from Lindelof, one from Wan-Bissaka, sort of midway through the first half, Everton could have been up in the first half. And an undeserved goal on the stroke of half time by Martial. It was a great break. Fantastic. It was a fizzed-in ball to Bruno and a fantastic touch to kind of stun the ball, sort of in between the midfield and the defensive line. And then obviously the presence of mind just to pop it out wide to Martial. Martial just hit the target, and I think if we're being honest, Jordan Pickford should have done miles better. It is kind of interesting watching Jordan Pickford in an Everton shirt. I mean, still as crazy as he ever has been in terms of the way he sort of like berates his defence, even if they're like 300 metres away. But should have saved it. And like his form for Everton is very much different to his form for England. But whatever. But most of the game it was Everton players going down quite easily. I thought Michael Oliver had an average game. Definitely was inconsistent in his decisions. I thought Yeremina, who had a great game at centre back for Everton, but he manhandled Cavani most of the game. There was lots of free kicks that should have been given on another day. And then when the shoe was on the other foot, really, like Everton were getting those decisions. So it really helped sort of exacerbate how poorly we were playing and sort of the frustration within the fans. And so that projected onto the players. So really wasn't sort of the best day at the office. But from a United perspective, who stood out? I thought Bruno had a really good first half, faded a bit in the second, but for the most part played really intelligent passes. First touch was good, played with a purpose. And I thought when Martial came off at about sort of 55 minutes, quite an early substitution. I think it was an enforced sub based on an injury that we didn't know about. But Sancho came on and looked lively. Jinky feet, sort of evaded defenders, very elusive in his movements. Just needed a sort of better end products in a few moments, but definitely has an eye for a pass. Like I always mention, he's good at drawing players, and he popped some lovely balls to edge the box for Pogba when he came on, and Bruno as well, to get shots off, and that's what Sancho brings. And I think that trio that I mentioned, I think eventually will come good in terms of their link up. But the issue with Man United, as it has been throughout, is how can you get all those players on the same pitch, playing their best football when you don't have the defensive cover in midfield? And it was the same again for Manchester United, our Achilles heel. And it was a carbon copy of the Newcastle goal we conceded when I was at the game last, when Maguire came lunging in midfield, didn't break up the play. Was out of position, and Varane was sort of left on an island by himself. Shaw's obviously up the pitch because we were in an attacking phase of play, and the opposition got on the counter, and then Manquillo makes that late run to the opposite side in the right hand side channel of the box, and then fired home into the bottom left. Same thing happened again, except a bit more onto the left hand side. Demarai Gray, Fred. This is the difference. Like Fred has the intelligence to know where to break up the play. This is what people need to understand about the difference in Fred and McTominay playing defensive midfield. Fred identifies the problems. He knows where the problems are. He'll cover the ground. He works really hard. He'll run over to the areas to put out that fire. then the issue is his decision making when he actually gets in that position. And too many times today you'd get there and then fluff his lines, hold on to the ball for too long, try and ride a challenge, lose it, or not going hard enough in the challenge. And on this occasion, what cost us is Demarai Gray was in a position of strength, and where he got it on the left hand side, we obviously know how elusive he is with his movements, how quick he is and nippy. Fred should have just gone through him, pulled his shirt, taken the yellow card. He didn't. Demarai Gray got away, was able to play the ball across the pitch over to Townsend, same place as Manquillo when we were against Newcastle, same end result. So we haven't learned, we haven't addressed those problems, and I very much think until we start actually doing something in midfield, whether it is breaking up the play like that when we're pushed up, or like I say, whether it's about taking the sting out of the game by having someone that can control it, a la like a Rodri at Manchester City, or a Jorginho at Chelsea. Unless you have a combination of those players in midfield, it's going to be, every single game is going to be the same. It's going to be, you're going to be tearing your hair out thinking, is this deja vu? I just saw this last week. I just saw this 2 days ago. And that's how it feels at the moment, Man United. So not all doom and gloom. I mean, obviously, I think we're Moments FC, like I mention almost every video. So we do sort of scrap for these results. But I think until that position in midfield is addressed, very much our home form is going to be our Achilles heel for most of the season. I think our away form is obviously what's going to sort of keep us afloat in terms of Champions League qualification. I think it's one of the reasons why we do okay in cups usually, is because we don't worry so much about how we're playing. We just sort of scrap, play on the counter attack, which is more of our strength. Whereas at home, we try and play more expansive football. We try and get the crowd on their feet, and it just doesn't work. You cannot play expansive football at Old Trafford with MCFRED in midfield. That does not work. That is not their game. Their game is to play against Manchester City, is to play against Liverpool, is to play against teams where you're going to concede the possession more and look to hit them on the break. That is their strength, it's just, it beggars belief that Solskjaer thinks that's a good midfield combination for a game like this. The fact that Van de Beek can't get game time in games like this, at home, where, like I say, you might have large portions of possession, you're against a team that might play on the low block, like Newcastle did, like Everton did in large parts of this game. If you can't get more of a ball player in midfield, sort of control possession, to sort of bring calm and receive the ball from the back four, then they're never going to get game time in a United shirt, and that is the reality for Van de Beek. Unfortunately, his career's done at Manchester United unless someone has like a season-ending injury. For me, it's not going to turn around anytime soon. So, very much another disappointing result. The kind of skeletons or ghosts that exist in terms of United's problems in midfield, they are come to the fore. Like I say, it's not just weekly now, it's every half week, depending on how many games we're playing in a week. I think there's not really much to highlight in terms of individual performances, to be honest with you. I'll just say, if I was going to give a sort of tactical understanding on this, is like Greenwood stayed on too long on the right hand side. I thought his best form was definitely up front. When he was playing up front when Ronaldo wasn't there, was when we were seeing the best of Greenwood and he was scoring goals. Now that's just faded, and I very much think a United side would suit a team that a kind of setup where we're looking to press like we did at sort of the end of the Villarreal game. Cavani wasn't a bad option at the start of the game, persist with him. I don't know why he came off after about 55 minutes as well. And also, like I said, Lingard, terrific in terms of being a match winner in the Villarreal game, in the West Ham game as well. Didn't get a single minute in this game. That's just incredibly strange to me. These are the players that I think have got a feature, because I think we've got to press teams. We've got to get in teams' faces, try and win the ball high up and stay high up the pitch. The moment we concede ground, we just don't have the nous to be able to deal with it. And at the moment, I think we're caught a bit in a halfway house. Like, we're trying to be expansive, we're occasionally trying to press, but we're just we're split between several identities now as a kind of a philosophy in terms of the way we're playing. Like, you've got Luke Shaw and Wan-Bissaka trying to push on, trying to join the attack, trying to get down the bylines, but then you're conceding huge holes. It's a bit like I mentioned with Liverpool when Fabinho had to drop into centre-back. It's a similar situation now at Man United. We don't have the defensive midfield to cover that. So Wan-Bissaka and Shaw, they're the ones that are exposing us in those kind of full-back positions. There's huge gaps there. And so if you've got like wingers, like, even though we battered Newcastle just through scoring in moments, Sam Maximan causes loads of problems, Almiron, Damari Gray in this game, and obviously Townsend as well, who's becoming a bit of a sort of a big game player. They're causing us problems and we didn't identify it, and we needed a situation where if you don't have the personnel to play in midfield to cover those areas, you've got to tell your fullbacks to stay back. Stop them committing, and be realistic about your personnel and your team and what you're up against, and let's be honest, it's a results-based business. And so while the pressure's on Solskjaer, you want to get out to the end of this kind of mini crisis with as many points as you can, and sort of trying to force a way into playing expansive football with McFred as your midfield in a game at home is just certainly not the way. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the game. Sorry it's a bit doom and gloom, but that's the reality of it. And so until that's addressed, I think we're looking at a fourth place finish, a battle for third maybe at best. And so yeah, leave your thoughts in the comment section. For example, do you think we should set up, like I said, be more of a pressing team, play Greenwood through the middle, use Cavani, Ronaldo more as like super subs potentially? When you're at home, what would your midfield setup be? It can't be McFred, so who is the combination that you'd go for when you're playing at home? And maybe how long do you think Solskjaer will have through the season before maybe he's in the hot seat and he gets the chop? But yeah, thanks a lot for listening. Please like, share, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.